What's going on, everybody? Hope you are having a great one today. As always, I am super excited. We are taking a look at a head sculpt from Mos Toys. Now, this should be a quick one, which is probably a good thing, because as you may have noticed by my lovely bandages and few tiny little nicks there, one of my squirrels decided to eliminate my hand from the recent Fall Guys competition, and he took some nibbles. We'll just leave it at that. There is some ointment seeking through. It's not blood or anything like that, but I got to keep the band-aids on for a while, so we'll just deal with it. And I think Lucky Lefty can do the job for this one, so we'll see how it goes. Now, if you aren't familiar with Mos Toys, they recently kind of flooded the world of 6-scale figures by doing some really cool animal-themed head sculpts. I kind of have looked at them off and on, and really was not overly interested in them at any point. But then they released a panda, and I am a sucker for pandas and squirrels, obviously, so I kind of had to pull the trigger on this. Plus, it's a panda smoking a cigar, so I mean, how cool is that? Now, I'll eventually be getting a body for him. I've got one ordered. It'll be here at some point, and I'll make a fun little figure out of the guy. But there really isn't a ton of info on these. Most of the videos that I've seen are relatively quick, short, and to the point, and they don't really show or discuss too much. Not that you guys need to hear me talking about things, but sometimes it helps. So we're just going to bust this fella out and take a look-see. And the box, by the way, is pretty dang cool. It's also massive. I was not expecting it to be remotely this large, but it's a big boy. And this should be the case with the sculpt and the hands in it. Oh, that's in there nice and snug. If only I had 2 working hands. Alright, there we go. Oh, I'm liking it already. Alright, so we're going to cheat and start with the base. It's got a nice little peg in there just so you can actually peg the head in, and then you can put the hands out on there. And this fancy guy just kind of plops right on top, ideally. Maybe. Let's make this work. Hopefully make this work. There we go. It's a snug fit, but you end up getting a cool little display base like that if you just want to display the head. I'll probably use this for something else at some point, but the head's definitely going on a figure. You do also get hands, and supposedly I've read some things saying you get a bunch of different neck pegs, and I've read some things saying you don't. So we're just going to yank all this stuff out and take a look-see. Hopefully. Hopefully. Come on, come on. Oh, that's a big boy. All right, we'll get to all that in a moment. We'll start with the main event. All right. Bam. So that thing is awesome looking. I absolutely love that. It's fantastic. Interesting bottom piece, so you'll be able to put the actual neck connector there. That way you can kind of rotate it and swivel it around. But man, they did a cool job with that. Really good job on the detail. He looks adorable. That cigar is fantastic. I absolutely love that. Now, I have seen a bunch of people getting the like the alligator and stuff like that to do some alternate Egyptian gods, which probably a good way to go for most people. I think that's a pretty good option. This one I really just couldn't pass up. So that's going to be the main actual neck connector. It's kind of got more of a Hot Toys bottom. So it'll be interesting to see what that ends up being compatible with body style. Obviously, I don't think it would sit too well on a Fison or anything like that, but you could definitely find ones that have that kind of mushroom style peg. And then, like I mentioned, this head just rest on top. Now, I did just pinch my finger. It's actually pretty strong magnet in there that's going to hold that onto place. So that's good to know. So I did a good job with that. And then these should be, oops, his hands. It's really not going to be anything too spectacular, I can't imagine, but alright, so I'm kind of amused. Alright, so I don't know why they gave him blue fingertips. I didn't notice that at all when I was looking at him, but he has some fancy nail polish, so that's that's definitely interesting. I guess maybe she has some fancy nail polish. I don't want to gender him at this point. I mean, maybe that's just the flavor he chooses. Who knows? Definitely an interesting little tidbit there. So if you didn't know, they got some fancy fingernail polish on, which is kind of fun. You do only get these two hands, so you know you're kind of stuck with that. I'm gonna get him a cool giant gun, I think. Or, like I said, maybe her a cool giant gun at this point. I also might just paint those up a little bit. Although now I'm curious what the actual color of the claws of a panda are. I'm positive they're not sapphire blue like that, but kind of curious how they actually look. So definitely a fun one. I'm going to enjoy playing around with this guy. He's certainly a cool one. Eventually, once I get the body in and get them all pieced together, I might do a little short video on that as well. But if you were looking at some of these guys, this thing is heavy. That magnet attachment's awesome. Honestly, the only thing I'm really not overly impressed with is little blue fingertips, but you know, maybe I'll get a little Smurf and have him ripping one of those apart. And then also just the be mindful of the neck peg, because that's pretty much what you're going to have to deal with and find a body that it'll work on. That's probably going to be the hardest part of doing anything with these. And that'll about do it for this one. So thank you all so much for joining. Like I said, quick and painless. Hope you have a great one.